Well, hello everyone and welcome to another episode here on the MIgardener channel. I'm so excited for this episode because I was prompted to do this episode as I was coming out here doing some weeding actually. And I get asked a lot, Luke, how do you keep your garden so perfect? And on that, I kind of wanted to tie this episode in with another episode that I was planning about how perfection can actually lead to discouraging new beginning gardeners. And I was prompted that because I was reading through the comment section like I do every night, and I was reading one of these comments that came up, and it was just one, but it allowed me to stop and think about it. And I thought, they might actually have a point. And the question, or the comment was kind of worded something along the lines of, Luke, your garden is so perfect and it's so large, I don't think I would ever have the ability to have a garden of your size because I know it would get weedy. And it would just get neglected, and so I'm going to stick to the size of the garden that I have, even though I want to expand. I thought, man, is my perfection, is my perceived perfection discouraging gardeners? And on the topic of weeds, I also wanted to discuss how my garden is far from weed free. It is far from perfect. In fact, this 5-gallon bucket is almost full of weeds, and it was from almost every bed. Now I could go through and I could be meticulous and I could get every teeny tiny little weed, which I should, but I'm not perfect, and nothing is perfect here in the MIgardener channel. There's always tiny little imperfections because I think perfection, you will get so burnt out trying to be perfect that it's going to keep you from doing the bigger picture, which is growing big. And so I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you the fact that I have weeds. I got weeds. It's important to get the weeds that are big. That's no doubt. But I want to show you a little trick to keeping down your weeding, it's very effective at not getting burnt out, and you can get the majority of weeds. And that is by selecting a bed at a time. I don't cherry pick. I know a lot of people I see come up here and they say, hey Luke, can I help weed the garden? I say, sure. I'll see them go boop, 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 boop. And it's like, okay, you've gotten 10 big weeds, but the bed is still as weedy as it was before. It's just less large weeds. And if you cherry pick, you're never going to get the job done because you're going to be doing the entire bed, and then you have to go back in a week and do the entire bed over again. So what I like to do is I like to select a single bed or 2 beds and work on them for the day. For the hour, for the 2 hours that I have, 3 hours that I have, whatever, I will work specifically on a bed, and I will just focus on that bed. I don't look up, I don't look at the bigger picture, because if you look at the bigger picture, you're gonna say, I'm never gonna get this done. But if you do each bed specifically and just don't cherry pick, but just pick each and every weed in the single bed, it's going to go by much quicker. And then the next day you work on 1 or 2 more beds, and before you know it, you've weeded 20 beds, and it's really not going to take that long, between 5 and 10 days. If you do more beds, obviously it's going to take a shorter time, but not everybody has that much time to weed a bed meticulously. But again, between 5, 10, 20 days, you're going to be completely weed free in your entire garden. Now, another trick that I wanted to show you that I utilize in the garden, and I will openly admit I've utilized it to have a very successful appearance of a weed-free garden, but it's by far, it's so far weedy that if you looked up close, you'd say, Luke, your garden is full of weeds, but they are so tiny because I don't ever let them get larger than so tiny. And I'll show you what I mean.
All right, so as you can see, the weeds here are very, very small, very, very small. Teeny, tiny little weeds, okay? I would never go through here and pick these out. That would take a lifetime. I mean, I could, I just did. But what you want to do is just get these big ones here, these ones here that are going to grow and mature, okay? Until bucket of weeds, like I was talking about, see? Big bucket of weeds. Until the plants start growing up. That's the secret. Because the thing is, if you let the weeds go and let them kind of duke it out with your plants, they're never going to be able to compete. Weeds are far more aggressive for nutrients, water, and sunlight, and space. But if you let the plants, if you weed just the big weeds and kind of ignore the small weeds, let them grow, weed them, you know, kind of do it in succession with just the biggest weeds, you can ignore all these teeny tiny little ones you can hardly see. They might grow a little bit, but if you can get your plants to this size where they start overlapping and you are using a very, very densely planted pattern, the leaves are actually going to overlap and it's going to create no sun under here. They're going to, the plants here are going to take all the nutrients, all the water, and all the sun. And that is the only thing keeping these weeds from growing. So believe it or not, you can come back here in a month and they will still be teeny tiny. They don't have a chance. They are too pea diddly to compete against these big plants here. So I won't even touch these weeds. Believe it or not, I won't even touch those weeds. I will just let them go because they will not, with plants this large, once the plants get this large, they will not compete. They cannot compete in any way, shape, or form. However, coming over here, you can see kind of some stuff like this. This still has a chance of competing. That's too much, and the plants are not that big yet. So I'm going to come through here, pick those, and again, those are something you want to pick. Those are something you want to pick. But see these teeny tiny little ones here? See those? You can even scratch them into the surface, but I just forget about them. You know what? They're not even that big of a deal.
And so there you go. There is the truth about the MIgardener garden. It is not weed free, and there are ways that you can utilize the growth of your plants to actually be a benefit to your back and your time spent weeding. And that way I think it's very nice as well, because you're not spending your entire day weeding. You can spend more time amongst your plants, and you can spend more time harvesting, watering, enjoying the fragrance, and really just enjoying the things about gardening, because weeding is a pain and everybody has to do it. And if you don't have to do it, man, I'd love to have the garden you have. But anybody that I know, you have to weed. And if you say you have a weed-free garden, I would actually love to come look at your garden. I would love proof, and I'd love to see what you've done to get it weed-free, because I don't care if you have mulch, I don't care what you're using, weed seeds will eventually land, and if you don't weed them, they'll eventually take over. Just kind of what I've learned throughout the past years of my gardening experience. So that's about it. I'm having a good day. I love just turning on the camera and bringing you along for what I'm doing. And I just wanted to point out that I do not have a perfect garden. And so for those of you that are easily discouraged, don't be discouraged. There are things you can do, and there are different little hacks you can do, and you can't possibly think that my garden is that perfect to discourage you from trying a garden of this size. It's very easy, and it's very fun. It's very fun to come out here to a garden of this size. It's just something about it. I love it. So, well, I'm gonna get back. I got a few more beds to weed, and I will talk to you all later. This is Luke from the MIgardener channel, hoping you all are having a great day, hoping you all are growing bigger, going home, taking something from these episodes, sharing them with your friends, and hopefully you all are enjoying your garden as well. All right, I'll talk to you all later. This is Luke from the MIgardener channel. See ya. Bye.